Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the latest episode of Supernatural Absence. And I didn't like this episode. And I found it really boring and really not well executed, because this whole episode is supposed to kind of be a celebration of Mary's character to a degree, because of the events that happened, kind of like her farewell. But it's really kind of strange that I feel that we're almost back to the first season where the death of Mary Winchester is the impetus for everything that has occurred. But the difference this time around is we actually had opportunities for Mary to be a better and fleshed out character, and none of that's really happened at all. And that is really glaringly shown in this episode because of what's going on, and we actually get flashbacks to actually give us more character development on this character. And when they introduced that Mary Winchester was coming back, there was a lot of potential that could have been done with her character. Sadly enough, she's mainly been utilized more often than not as a plot device or an object that the Winchesters or other characters have to deal with. Because if you think about it this way, when we got her back introduced after the darkness was done, after Amara was done doing what she was doing, she gives this gift, and we get into the British Men of Letters, which she had the most amount of screen time in there with what we were doing. Then we get into the fact that we get into the Apocalypse world, and she gets shuttled into there, and they have to try and balance the time, and we don't get as much screen time with her. Same has happened in this season, so this episode just really hammers into effect how poorly used and executed she has been as a character. Now, granted, there's been some good things going on, but they actually do flashback scenes that we have to add new scenes in to be like, oh god, there's not any kind of classic scenes from the last couple seasons to really kind of pull that in. It's really weird. So, this episode was really simple and straightforward. Jack did an oopsie. At the beginning, we don't truly understand what exactly happened to Mary. All that we know is that everybody's trying to figure out where Jack is. They get Rowena to try and do a tracking spell on Jack and on Mary, but we find out that Mary is no longer on this earth. So you're already teased that it could be she's either dead or she's on another plane of existence. And we see that Jack is kind of hopping around and trying to figure out how to fix what he did. We also see that he has now started to hallucinate Lucifer. Oh joy. Not like we've had this happen before with Sam and Cass, and just now he's going, oh, I'm Nick, I'm Lucifer, I'm your subconscious pretty much messing with you. And this really starts to confuse me. Because if that's his subconscious, that would lend it to being that he has a kind of soul. And everything that starts going on throughout this episode doesn't really support the fact of Cass coming to the Winchesters and finally revealing that Jack doesn't have a soul, talking about the whole snake issue. And I'm glad that he went that it wasn't bad what he did, it was an absence of good. Of course, Dean blows up and says, if that, you're dead to me kind of stuff. And I'm like, oh god, we're back spinning wheels again. It's the reaction I understand. But the thing is, we keep doing the same thing, and each kind of character starts pivoting roles. And, okay, he wanted to try to do something to help Jack, and then everybody starts blaming themselves because, yes, this whole situation is them blaming themselves. But it isn't really kind of true, in my opinion, because, granted, even though those kind of actions were typical within the characters, such as bringing Jack back, I feel that the plot more demanded that Jack be brought back like that, rather than it following through naturally through the characters themselves. Granted, I know that Dean has to go through his stages of grief kind of moment and be super uber pissed at Cass even though when he's laying everything out, and then, of course, Sam goes, I'm the one that shot for him coming back and all that. And like, all right, we got to find him and all that. We see that Jack decides to go to Rowena and try and get her help because Dean's plan when this kind of stuff comes about is, okay, let's try and reverse this course of action because they both wanted to use the Book of the Damned to resurrect Mary Winchester. So Jack pretty much takes Rowena against her will, even though she plays along because she doesn't know exactly what's going on with him. But he does want to undo the damage that he did. And she's like, okay, we can do this. We can get these ingredients and everything. And he takes her to the bunker. They start grabbing the ingredients. He's freaking out with his Lucifer dude going, yeah, just forget it. Nobody's going to trust you again and all that kind of crap. And just freaking him out as he's going crazy. And Rowena's like trying to figure out what's going on. She's like, okay, we need the body then. And we go and we find out that Mary's been dusted pretty much. I know it's not a complete reference to the Avengers thing and them being dusted, but I'm like, it's kind of convenient. Because while this is going on, Cass is going to try and find Mary's soul. He goes to heaven, calls for Naomi, but gets Doom instead, and talks about why she's perfectly happy up there. Why should I let you do any of this? And then, of course, Cass comes back, talks to everybody, and he went up and saw that she was happy and everything. So that was the nail on that. We also get everybody reminiscing about Mary's stuff with the flashbacks and everything. And then, of course, Jack gets to the clearing and she's like, I can't do this. I won't help you doing this. And he just like push teleports her back to her house. And he is deciding to use necromancy to try and raise her and just grabs up some dirt and like, oh, it's not like she got completely particled and dusted. I mean, there could be other stuff in there. But this opens up another can of worms. Jack is a Nephilim. Wouldn't he be able to resurrect someone with his Nephilim powers? I mean, he pretty much did that with Cass. Why can't he just poof her up? Now, the thing is the looseness with the lore of his powers. I mean, he's pretty much been touted to be more powerful than an archangel. We've seen regular angels create other pocket universes pretty much. Granted, they were higher tier angels, but like, why is this outside of his realm of possibilities with his abilities that he would be turning to necromancy for this? It confuses me, and it's mainly just the strangeness of the lore involved. But again, just a plot-demanding thing, I guess, because he goes through with it. The Winchesters are pretty much on his tail, but he uses his powers to stop Baby's engine, and they get out, but not before he's able to at least make the body. And he's like, it didn't work, and then he runs away. And then they give Mary her hunter's funeral, and he's talking with their Cass and Sam are talking. It's mainly just like a shell and everything. He gives the lowdown on Mary. Dean is still somewhat kind of pissed at him, which is kind of understandable, but they all knew something was wrong with Jack, and they didn't keep any fucking really good tabs on him, and they weren't like, hey Jack, I know you got your powers back, but can we put like a limiter or something on you, because we don't know what the fuck can go on. You kind of had an alright control of your powers before, but I mean, you're in a weird kind of state and everything. It's like, okay, I mean, you can be kind of pissed at Cass, but I mean, I don't know. I'm like, what the hell, man? It was just so boringly executed. It was just so simple of Jack trying to undo his oopsie. This, random flashback, boom, fizzle, nothing worked, and he's off. And it just really confusingly goes, and of course it ends with him talking with his Lucifer hallucination, and saying that, okay, the Winchesters can't trust you anymore, you can't trust them anymore. It's like, okay, you're setting them up for being an antagonistic force. I just don't get the whole, I mean, I understand that his soul's been compromised from what he did with Michael, but it doesn't seem like he is completely lost his soul. I mean, he's freaking out trying to bring back someone that is important to not only him, but who he considers family. I don't know if Donatello or Soulless Sam would have done that. I mean, Soulless Sam used Dean as bait to go after vampires. I mean, if Jack was soulless, he would have already went on the warpath, well, not warpath, but he would have been, oh, I killed Mary. Sam and Dean are gonna be sad. I think I should kill them too. So that way they're in heaven. That would have been a fucking freaky-ass thing to see. And especially if he just went completely emotionless and went, oh, this is the logical next step. So I don't know what's going on with this, and it's just, we will have to see how this is executed, because the previews that come into effect show him working with Heaven. Could this potentially have been a plan by Heaven? Because Naomi is crazy with her mind control shit. And when Jack dusted Mary, he did have a ringing thing. His head was messing with him, and I don't know if it was like an angel radio thing, or if the Lucifer thing could potentially be something with that. I mean, that could be an interesting angle, but I don't have faith in these writers to execute it well, because the biggest issue is content of what's going on, as well as the execution going on. Because sometimes they have something that's got a great content and potential, and they execute it in just a way that falls flat, like in this one. You would think that there would be more of an emotional impact that Mary Winchester is gone, but it's just more like, okay, alright, and just, it was very simplistic. And it's like, I'm like, oh, okay. Now granted, something being simplistic doesn't mean it's bad, but it's just like, how it was done just didn't bring that much interest. I'm like, oh, okay, Jack's hallucinating. We've already had Sam hallucinating Lucifer. We've got Cass hallucinating Lucifer. I guess it just goes into effect that we've got to get everybody hallucinating something like this at some point. I don't know. We'll definitely have to see how this shakes out and how this shakes out for season 15. I just don't know. I would think that since Amara had brought, I would thought that, like, since Amara brought her back, she'd be like, now granted, I understand she's like an uber entity and everything like that and really shouldn't care about people at all, but she did this gesture for Dean, and seeing all this stuff going on, it's just, you'd have to have a good, compelling reason why both Amara and Chuck would be seeing these things going on and not intervene, because Jack's whole thing with the whole portals to other dimensions and kind of ripping apart the fabric of reality, space and time and everything like that would have been a thing that the creator and his opposite would have really wanted to kind of stopped. I don't know. They could have a compelling reason. We will have to see. So, we'll have to... I don't know where this is going to be going. It gets murkier and murkier as each episode goes on, and I have no idea what the hell this finale is going to shake out to. So those are my opinions on the episode. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.